Hello everyone, we are continuing Art, Truth and Politics by Harold Pinter, continuing from lesson 5. Um, in the last video, we have seen the American atrocities in Nicaragua, and we are continuing from there. We have seen that a lot of people were being tortured and killed in various countries of the world because of American intervention. We are continuing from there. Para 29. Para 29, as it is a big paragraph, we are dividing it into 3. So, para 29, part 1. What has happened to our moral sensibility? What happened to us? He means that why we are not reacting. Did we ever have any? Did we ever have any morals? What do these words mean? What do these words, morals, mean? Do they refer to a term very rarely employed these days, conscience? Do you have a mind? Do you have a prick of conscience, manasachi? A conscience to do not only with our own acts, but to do with our shared responsibility in the acts of others. So, Pinter is asking us, are you ashamed of others for not reacting? Is all this dead? Is conscience dead? Is kindness dead? Why you are not reacting, other countries of the world? Look at Guantanamo Bay. Hundreds of people detained without charge for over 3 years. Guantanamo Bay is a detention camp, Tadankalpalayam, detention camp of United States of America, which is in Cuba. Hundreds of people, hundreds and thousands of people were detained there without any charges, even over 3 years, with no legal representation or due process, technically detained forever. This totally illegitimate structure in defiance is in defiance against Geneva Convention. According to Geneva Convention, nobody should be detained without trial. This is against Geneva Convention that America is doing this. It is not only tolerated but hardly thought about by what's called the international community. So it shouldn't be done to anybody in the world, but America is doing this. This criminal outrage, this criminal activity is being committed by a country which declares itself to be leader of the free world. So this criminal activity is done by a country which claims itself to be the leader of the world. You can see this image of Guantanamo Bay detention camp. So it is fully surrounded by barbed wire, just like a concentration camp. American flag can be seen here. So the paraphrase of the earlier paragraph is this. Pinter asks, what happened to our morality? Do we have conscience? Why are we not reacting? Pinter calls our attention to Guantanamo Bay. The Guantanamo Bay detention camp is a United States military prison located at the coast of Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. America kept a lot of people in this prison without charge for more than 3 years. It was against the Geneva Convention. Geneva Convention is for maintaining humanitarian treatment in war. Nobody questioned America about this. This criminal activity is conducted by a country who claims to be the leader of the free world. Continuing, the same para, part 2. Do we think about the inhabitants of Guantanamo Bay? Do we think about them, those people who are silent, who are lying there forever without any trial? What does the media say about them? Is there any reference about those people in media? They pop up, they rise up occasionally, a small item on page 6 of the newspaper. So news about these people are only coming in the page 6 unimportantly, quite unimportantly, not on the front pages. They have been consigned to, they have been thrown into a no man's land, a land where no people lives, no man's land from which they may never return. At present, many are on hunger strike, being force fed. Being feeding forcefully is a type of torture, and prisoners include British residents. No niceties, no detail in this force feeding procedures. So, some of the torture methods are described here. No sedative or anesthetic is given to those people. Medicines in order to keep them lie down. Just a tube stuck up your nose and into your throat. Or you vomit blood. This is torture. So it's a method of torture practiced on prisoners. Why? What has the British Foreign Secretary said about this? Nothing. What has British Prime Minister said about this? Nothing. Why not? Because the United States has said to criticize our conduct in Guantanamo Bay constitutes an unfriendly act. You are either with us or against us. So Blair shuts up. So America has threatened that if you are going to criticize our conduct in Guantanamo Bay, it is an unfriendly act against America. You are with us or you are against us. So Tony Blair was afraid and keeps his mouth shut. So the paraphrase is like, we are not worried about the people who were locked up in Guantanamo Bay. Media didn't talk about it. Those people were thrown into a no man's land from which they may not return. They were on hunger strike. Even British citizens were being tortured. Pinter describes the force feeding torture practiced on the prisoners. British Prime Minister and British Foreign Secretary didn't react even though there were British prisoners in Bay. Why? Because they are afraid of America. They are afraid to criticize them. Tony Blair kept his mouth shut. Then, part 3 of the um, para 29, the invasion of Iraq was a bandit act. Bandit act means criminal act, an act of blatant, open state terrorism, demonstrating absolute contempt, hatred for the concept of international law. So Pinter criticized that the America's invasion in Iraq was a criminal activity. It was against the international law. The invasion was an arbitrary means not planned military action, inspired by a series of lies upon lies and gross manipulation, control of the media, and therefore of public. So the invasion was not planned. It was based on a series of lies America had printed in the media. America had manipulated or controlled the media and the public, and an act intended to consolidate means combine American military and economic control of Middle East. So the idea behind the invasion was to gain control over the uh, economic economic control over the Middle East, and masquerading as pretending as if they were acting for freedom, liberation, masquerading as a last resort, all other justifications having failed to justify themselves as liberation. So they were pretending to be working for liberation or freedom. A formidable or powerful assertion of military force responsible for the death and mutilation. Mutilation means violent injury of thousands and thousands of innocent people. So it was a very powerful force of America that led to the injury of mutilation of thousands of innocent people. So Pinter says that America's attack of Iraq was a criminal act. It was open terrorism. It was breaking of international law. It was an unplanned attack based on the news they spread. The original idea was to gain control in Middle East. Americans were pretending that they did everything for freedom. American military is responsible for the death of thousands of innocent people. So, continuing, para 30. We have brought torture. We here means Americans and British. We have brought torture, cluster bombs, depleted uranium, innumerable acts of random murder, misery, degradation, and death to Iraqi people, and call it bringing freedom and democracy to the Middle East. So Americans brought about many disasters to Iraqi people: tortures, bombs, uranium, murder, misery, death, etc. Some of them. Still, they call it bringing freedom and democracy to Middle East. And para 31 says, how many people do you have to kill before you qualify to be described as a mass murderer and war criminal? 100,000? More than enough, I would have thought. Therefore, it is just that Bush and Blair should be arraigned, brought before the International Court of Justice. Pinter says that these people, Bush and Blair, should be brought to the International Court of Justice. But Bush has been clever. He has not ratified, agreed with the International Criminal Court of Justice. Therefore, if any American soldier, or for that matter politician, find himself in the dock that is accused, Bush has warned that he will send the Marines. He will take immediate action. So Bush has not agreed with the International Court of Justice. If any American soldier or politician is accused, Bush has threatened that he will take immediate action. However, Tony Blair has ratified. Tony Blair has agreed with the court and therefore is available for prosecution. He can be tried. So we can let the court have his address, the address of Tony Blair, if they are interested. It is number 10 Downing Street, London. So Pinter has given the address of Tony Blair if he is required to be brought to the court. So the paraphrase is this: Pinter asks, how many more people should kill in order to call America a mass murderer and a war criminal? Pinter is of the opinion that Bush and Tony Blair should be brought before International Criminal Court of Justice. But Bush has not agreed with the court. He has threatened that if any American soldier is accused, America will take immediate action. However, Tony Blair has agreed with the court. He can be accused and tried in court. Pinter is ready to give the address of Tony Blair to the court, that is number 10 Downing Street, London. So we are stopping here and we will be continuing in the next class. Thank you.